Let's continue exploring the universe within art and the art behind farming. I'm your host, Ledoux. In this episode, we're going to build an AFK pumpkin and melon farm. This has been requested several times, but there have also been a ton of comments about experience. And at the end of the video, we'll talk about why pumpkins and melons are the best experience in the game. As for the rates on the basic design, in an hour you will get over a double chest of melons and over 12 stacks of pumpkins. And this is for the basic design. You can expand this to be as big as you want it to be. But here is what you will need to build a 16 by 16 farm. And again, you could build this as small or as big as you want it to be. The first step is totally optional. You actually do not have to do this, but it's always nice to chunk align minecarts. So we need to map out a single chunk using an add-on or chunkbase.com or even the calculator on your phone. Build a platform that is 16 by 16 in that single chunk. But again, if you don't want to chunk align, you really do not have to. We're going to start off by placing a hopper and a slab on one of the corners, then a double chest underneath this hopper and slab. Then we want a solid block diagonally up from this hopper, then on this side diagonally down from that, skip one, place another solid block right there, then skip 4 blocks and place a final solid block right there. Now we need 2 comparators, one pointed into each of these final solid blocks. Then in between these comparators, we want to have 2 hoppers pointed into each other. Make sure that these hoppers are pointed into each other. Then above the comparators, facing toward the hoppers, we want to place a regular piston. But if you're playing on Java, these need to be sticky pistons. Then place a block of redstone on top of one of the hoppers, and now we want to put in 4 stacks that stack to 64 of any item into one of these hoppers. This is the etho timer that will control your minecart to cut down on lag. But next up, we want to place 3 redstone dust in those positions. Place a lever on the side of that block in case you ever want to turn it off. You can just turn on that lever. And place a redstone torch here at the end. Then on top of this hopper, we want to place a powered rail, then 2 regular rails, and another powered rail right here. Now it's also worth noting that if you have tons of redstone, you can use redstone blocks on this line to automatically power these powered rails so that you end up with something like this. But if you want a cheaper alternative to using redstone blocks, we're going to use levers here in just a little bit. But for now, go over by 8 regular rails, then place another powered rail after that, then regular rails looping back around. And we're just going to continue this pattern. So next to the powered rails, just place more powered rails. But here at the very beginning, we don't want a powered rail next to this one. We want regular rails that loop around. But we also don't want these rails to connect to the first powered rail, like so. If this does happen, break out that powered rail, place a rail right there, and replace the powered rail, and it should all be okay. So continuing along, we want to place powered rails along the entire row that has powered rails. This will just make it easy to power them later on. So just continue this pattern all the way across. But when you make it to the very end, we're just going to place powered rails all the way down, going into a solid block, so that the minecart picks up enough speed to hit that block and bounce back. Now we just need to power the powered rails. So if you didn't use redstone blocks to power the rails, we're going to dig out a little tunnel directly under the powered rails. Now we're going to place levers on the bottom of the blocks that have the powered rails on top. And don't forget to turn these levers on as you go. That way, these levers are powering the powered rails above. And just do that for both of the rows so that both rows are fully powered. Then once your rails are done and both rows are powered, you will end up with this. Now on one of the corners, we want to place 3 temporary blocks floating above the rails. Then next to the topmost temporary block, we want to place 2 pistons facing down. Then break out our temporary blocks. And now we want to make a checkerboard of pistons and temporary blocks going all the way across our entire platform. So just place easy to break blocks, then pistons next to those, and continue this pattern all the way across. So when you're done, you'll have a checkerboard of pistons and temporary blocks that is totally aligned with your platform. So no matter what size you built this at, you just need either pistons or blocks above every single rail. Now we need to go in here and we need to build the dirt platform so that we can plant our pumpkins or melons on top of it. But we're going to start off by placing 4 rows on one side and then 4 blocks from the edge. We want to place a bottom slab. So there will be 4 blocks of dirt between this slab and both outer walls. So 4 blocks of dirt there and 4 blocks of dirt there. And we want that because water will hydrate up to 4 blocks in each direction. So again, on this side, 4 blocks from the outer edge, we want to place a bottom slab, like so. Now we want to do the same thing on the opposite side. So start off by building 4 rows of dirt. Then we're going to count in 4 from the side and place in our bottom slabs. So count in 4 dirt, place a bottom slab, then do the same thing on the other side. So when we're done, we will have 4 bottom slabs that are each 4 blocks away from the edge of the platform. And if you built this at a different size, just remember that the slabs need to be 4 blocks away from the edge and no more than 8 blocks away from another slab. But after that, we're going to go in and break out all of our temporary blocks in between all of these topmost pistons. Now we want to grab 4 water buckets and then crawl up here on top of the pistons. Be sure to stay crouched so that you don't accidentally fall in a hole. But then we need to flood all 4 of these slabs. But one thing to note is that if the slab is directly below a piston, that's fine. But if the slab is not directly below the piston, we can actually improve the rates very, very slightly by moving it 1 block toward the outer edge. So 1 block toward the outer edge, we're going to place the slab and then replace that with dirt, so that our slabs are directly underneath a piston. You know, this just allows us to have 1 extra plant. And then of course we don't need the piston on top of the water, so we can break those out. You know, but if you don't want to move it, you know, it's fine. Having 2 less plants in the farm isn't going to affect anything. You know, but if you do want to, you can just move the slabs over toward the outside wall so that they are now directly underneath a piston. But 2 of them will be directly under a piston, and 2 of them won't be if you built this in a full chunk, a 16 by 16 area. So you will be left with something like this. Now we need to plant our plants and throw in some observers. So grab your hoe, and we're going to till the soil that is not directly under a piston. Then plant your plant and place an observer looking down at the pumpkin or the melon. So do this for every single dirt that is not underneath a piston. Plant a pumpkin or melon and then have an observer looking down at it, so that you will end up with this checkerboard of observers and pistons. And all of the observers will be facing down. Now in the 4 holes above your slabs, I recommend placing a light block, you know, like a jack-o'-lantern or a frog light, you know, just to provide light for the pumpkins and melons. And then on top of every piston, we want to place a solid block. Now whether you use a light block or you use a regular solid block and place a torch on it, either one is totally fine. Just don't use sea lanterns because they are not solid blocks. So when you're done, you will have a solid block on top of every single piston. Now on top of every observer, we want to place a redstone dust, so that this dust is pointing in all 4 directions because it's not connected to anything. And so now we have a checkerboard of dust and solid blocks on top of the checkerboard of observers and pistons. Now we just need to build some walls to kind of trap in some of the pumpkins and melons that try to fly outside of the farm. So just go around the dirt with a row of solid blocks and then just continue this up. Now if you want to use glass so that you can see the inside of the farm, you know, that's always cool. I like seeing the inside of farms, but if you don't want to use glass, you really do not have to. But just go up with 3 blocks, like so, all the way around, and that will help trap in some of these things. Now just throw in a minecart with hopper, and you are totally done. Now every time the etho clock activates, every 4 minutes or so, it will activate the minecart to start moving. This just cuts down on lag so that you don't have an infinite minecart going forever and ever. And remember that if you ever want it to stop, just turn that lever on, and it will turn off the minecart. It will still generate crops, but items are less laggy than minecarts anyway. If your minecart ever gets stuck, there is an easy way to fix this. All we have to do is place a trapdoor right there, a slab under that trapdoor. Now open the trapdoor, crouch, get on the slab, and then close the trapdoor, and it will force you into crawl mode. Then you can crawl in here and poke the minecart to make it start moving again. And if you want to autocraft the melon slices back into melon blocks, just build this underneath the output, where the hopper on this is pulling out of the output chest that has the melons in it. And you want 5 non-stackable items in this dropper. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that pumpkins and melons are the best source of experience, and that is because we can trade them with farmers. So we can trade 12 of each to each farmer. So with 5 farmers, that is a full stack of pumpkins and melons. But just trading 12 pumpkins and 12 melons gives you 8 levels in about 10 seconds. So trading a full stack of each to 5 farmers will give you over 20 levels in like 30 seconds. And so I never even mess with XP from other farms. I always just use my farmers. Because I'm buying golden carrots anyway, and pumpkins and melons are so easy to obtain, and you get emeralds on top of the XP. I've been playing Minecraft since beta, before they even added hunger into the game. It's been like 14 years, and in all of that time, I have never found a better source of experience. Like sure, there are some crazy mega farms that will give you experience really, really quickly, but just trading to like 10 farmers or 5 farmers or even 2 farmers gives you more than enough levels to fix all of your gear, to make your enchantments and all of that stuff. And it is so super easy, and it gives you emeralds in the process. But that's all we got for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, share, and subscribe. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you did or didn't like about the video. If you have any questions or requests, and I will do my best to help you out. Or if you don't know what to say, just tell me hi. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Always remember that you are totally awesome. And above all, don't forget to have fun. Bye-bye.